Good afternoon, everybody. Shavua Tov, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Raylene Marks, bringing you the headlines from Israel, Monday to Thursday, every week, barring, of course, a major holiday. And we want to know, how are you all doing? I know many of us around the world, including right here in Israel, we're starting to lift our lockdowns. We're slowly starting to come back to life. And while we're doing that, let's check out those top COVID-19 headlines coming from Israel. So Israel's trajectory over the last couple of days has been very positive. The numbers have been extremely positive. In fact, we recorded just 23 new infections in the last 24 hours. I think we are very close to the real hero in the fight against COVID-19, which is New Zealand, who for the first time in a month have recorded not a single infection. But we are doing our best, and the numbers look as follows. 16,208 confirmed cases since the outbreak of the global pandemic. But the important numbers are as follows. We have only 94 now in serious condition, which is a lot less than yesterday, and 75 people needing ventilators, which is also significantly reduced from yesterday. And again, for nearly a week, the number of people who have fully recovered far outnumbers the amount of people who are still sick. The number of people who have fully recovered are 9,749, and it's just over 6,200 people who are still sick here in Israel. Sadly, we have lost 232 people to the coronavirus. But as we broadcast this now, there are discussions taking place as to what further restrictions the government will be lifting. Yesterday it was announced that grandparents could now see their grandchildren, which is something that I think has affected most people across the world, which is the inability to see their immediate family, especially for grandparents. In Israel, you are now allowed to see secondary family and crowds up to 20. Yesterday it was 10. The government have said that now they will lift the restrictions up to 20. And there is talk about opening restaurants to be able to sit in from the middle of June. But they're discussing the immediate opening of malls, of certain movie theaters, of certain markets and certain gyms. I have to say, from a personal perspective, the jury's still out on whether or not it's responsible to open gyms, but this is a discussion that our Ministry of Health and our Ministry of Finance are busy undertaking. Last week we opened up hairdressing salons, beauty salons and restaurants for takeout, and there will be further discussion on whether or not beaches will be opened. While these restrictions are going on, it is very, very important that we still have to socially distance and wear masks. The wearing of masks is mandatory, and there are fines involved if you do not wear your masks. But very heartening yesterday, it was our grades 1 to 3 and 11 and 12 returning to school. Now, while not all schools across the country opened up yesterday, they have here in my city of Moovit being very, very heavily prepared. Staff welcomed back scholars with balloons and welcoming signs, also taking good care to take into account the emotional stress that students have gone through these last 2 months. But many other schools across the country will open up to their grades 1 to 3 and 11 to 12 tomorrow. So we're certainly making progress, and we hope that the numbers continue on their trajectory, which is getting lower and lower and lower. But it does mean responsible mask wearing and social distancing and hand washing and hygiene being observed by Israel's citizens. In other major news, it is day 2 of Supreme Court hearings on the legality of the new unity government, as well as whether or not Prime Minister Netanyahu will be fit to continue as Prime Minister should he be indicted. So these hearings are underway as we speak at the moment, and a ruling is expected by the end of the week. And some good news. I know we've all been waiting in anticipation for some good news these days. Yesterday it was announced that tech giant are in discussions to buy Israeli company Moovit that plots your travel and your journey destinations for $1 billion. This is a much needed acquisition for the country in these very, very uncertain economic times. But it does send out a very important message, and that is that investor confidence in investing in Israel is still very, very high. So positive news indeed. And those are the top stories making headlines in Israel. We'll continue to keep you updated on the hearings at the Supreme Court, as well as what further restrictions are being lifted. In the meantime, don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. There are some fabulous articles. You can read all about Susan's House, which is a project in Jerusalem where Arab and Jewish or Israeli children come together to do arts and crafts. This is written by Stephen Schulman, and also Gina Jacobson's lovely article on how important it is in these times to still put out our blue and white flags. You can also check out our Facebook page at Lottel Site. While you're there, our community is growing and we would love you to be a part of it. Give us a like or a follow and share our content. And we also have a YouTube channel, and it's very important that we are able to get Israel's side of the story out to the masses, and we do this via YouTube at the Israel Brief. Join us by subscribing. Those are the top stories making headlines today. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the Israel Brief. I'm Marlene Marks, and as we say here in Israel, Ad Machar.